It is mailbag time here on the Broncos Breakdown. Matthew Peterson starting this question off, coming in from Lore Finder, who asks, under Vance Joseph, do you think the defense gets worse or better? I think in general, league-wide, it's very difficult for defenses to stay consistent year after year compared to offenses. So I think for Vance Joseph, I do think it's probably going to be a little bit worse just statistically than it was last year, right? You don't have Bradley Chubb anymore, which you had for the first half of 2022. You still got some good guys for sure, and hopefully a bounce back year from Randy Gregory. You add Frank Clark, and Jonathan Cooper is really emerging on the scene. Of course, Patrick Surtain is going to do his job in the secondary, but maybe I'm the only one that feels this way. I don't think Vance Joseph is some world-renowned defensive genius, and we only had 1 year of Evero to learn, who he was as a DC, but that was a defense that if the offense just scored like 2 touchdowns and change, Denver would have had a 10-plus win season. So for me, I think if you stack up the defensive numbers from 2022 and the defensive numbers at the end of 2023, I think you'll probably see 2022 be a little bit better, but I don't think you're going to approach a major fall off. If I could add one thing, I think you're going to see a lot of turnovers forced by the defense this year. I'm smelling a big year from Justin Simmons and Patrick Surtain, maybe a little bit of Drew Sanders coming in off the edge, a forced fumble or two. I think the turnovers are going to go up, but probably the points allowed as well. Next question coming in from Yoke Officials. Could you see Denver trading for a wide receiver? Any idea? Maybe Mike Evans. Okay, interesting thought with Mike Evans. Because Denver, as I record this right now, which I will add, I'm doing this on Thursday afternoon before I take off for the weekend, they are in dire need of a wide receiver. They currently only have 3 healthy wide receivers on their roster, so I wouldn't rule out a wide receiver acquisition, whether that's from free agency or maybe even a trade, but you're not going to go get Mike Evans. And the reason being is you're not trying to replace Jerry Jeudy. What you're trying to do is Band-Aid yourself until Jerry Jeudy returns. How do you do that? By signing guys that most of us have probably never heard of, by calling up some players from the practice squad, leaning on Courtland Sutton and Marvin Mims and Brandon Johnson, but it's not by pulling off a blockbuster move for a 30-plus-year-old receiver in Mike Evans, who I think, by the way, can we have a debate here? Is Mike Evans a Hall of Fame wide receiver? He's never gone below 1,000 yards in an NFL season. He continues to put up great numbers no matter the quarterback play, but I feel like he's just going to be a lifelong Tampa Bay Buccaneer. I don't think a move is happening for Evans to Denver. I think the Broncos could add another wide receiver, but not one that's going to cost him a lot of assets for, a few weeks until Jerry Jeudy comes back, and then you're kind of good at wide receiver. But let me know what your thoughts are. Should the Broncos trade for a wide receiver? Is this a big enough need where even with a healthy Jerry Jeudy, you're not all that confident in this room getting the job done to help repair Russell Wilson? Give me your opinion, yes or no, in the comment section. Jawan Powell, what's going up, my man? Who are some wide receivers you think we will bring in to bolster this wide receiver room? If you want to bolster the wide receiver room and you want to bring guys in, I think the first place you look is your own practice squad, right? Right now, as I film this Thursday afternoon, Denver's got Philip Dorsett, David Sills, Lil Jordan Humphrey, and Michael Bandy all on their practice squad. I think what most likely is going to happen is 2 of those 4 guys, maybe even 3 actually. You got 3 healthy wide receivers. I could see just 2 coming up, giving you 5 for week 1. And I bet it's Lil Jordan Humphrey and Philip Dorsett that come up. And those 2 guys, plus Courtland Sutton, Marvin Mims, and Brandon Johnson, those are your 5 wide receivers for week 1. It's not perfect. It's not great. But it's the best that the Broncos can really do under the circumstances without breaking out their wallet for just a few weeks until Jerry Jeudy comes back. So I think that is your option for bolstering the wide receiver room. Sure, there are some free agent wide receivers, Kenny Golladay, Julio Jones, Jarvis Landry, but I'm not really interested in all those washed-up players. Elon Volk, what's going on? What do you think of elevating one wide receiver, like we were just talking about, and using Jaleel McLaughlin as a slot receiver to get him more playing time? So right now you've got Courtland Sutton, Mims, and Johnson healthy. If you brought up, say, Lil Jordan Humphrey, and then you kind of made Jaleel McLaughlin a flex guy, wide receiver and running back, that would give you 5 pass catchers. I don't know if that in the first game of the NFL regular season, you want to toss McLaughlin out into the slot, right? The guy probably should not be kind of tossed into the fire too much, not to baby him, but I feel like if you give him too much to chew on, it's not going to work very well. Now, I've heard some reports say that Sean Payton kind of views him and wants to use him as his Darren Sproles, if you will. I don't have a great memory of where Darren Sproles lined up play after play. He definitely got some usage in the slot, but by no means was he a slot guy. So for that reason, I don't dislike the idea of some fun packages in the red zone. Maybe kicking him out to the slot, having a lineup with a linebacker. But if you're at your own 20-yard line and he's going up against a safety in the slot, I don't know if he's going to have a real advantage over a guy that can kind of go step for step with him. Tyrone Larry, who will lead the Broncos in touchdowns this season? Good question. Who's going to lead Denver in touchdowns this year? I'm going to say Javonte Williams, which I did not think I would be saying a few months ago, but Courtland Sutton has 4 touchdowns over the last 2 years combined. What did Judy have last year? 6 touchdowns to lead the way. Maybe Jerry Judy makes some sense, but just because he's already missing time, it feels like a bit of a lofty, pick. I'll go with Javonte Williams. I think Williams could find 9 touchdowns on the ground, and if he does get, let's say, 8 touchdowns on the ground, is there any receiver who looks like they're going to go for 9 scores? I don't think so. I'll pick a running back. Give me Javonte Williams. But let me know what your thoughts are. Who will lead the Broncos in touchdowns this upcoming season? Chime in for me down in the comment section below. I'm going to roll with Javonte Williams. If you disagree, no problem. Just give me a name down in the comment section. Stephen Lee, what do you think the Broncos' record is going to be this year? I'm going to keep the same record prediction that I've had for months now. I think 9-8. I think for a team that won 5 games last year, to add 4 wins in year 1 under Sean Payton would not be a failure. It would not be coming up short of expectations. This was a 5-win team last year. And sure, you can put a lot of that on Hackett. But I think at the end of the day, we all have a little bit of difficulty with swallowing a very tough pill, which is maybe this roster last year was not quite as talented as we thought it was in terms of just needing to add a quarterback. Remember, that was the whole discourse, was Denver's got everything. They just don't have the quarterback. Maybe it wasn't as complete as we thought it was. And so if that's true, maybe this rebuild for Sean Payton or this repair is a little bit more extreme than we think it is. Because we kind of have just changed the narrative to Denver needs a quarterback. Okay, they got a quarterback, Russell Wilson. All right, now Denver needs a head coach. They got one, Sean Payton. Denver's got everything. I'm not quite there. I think Denver's got a lot of really good pieces, and good pieces can get you 9 wins. That's not a bad year going above 500, but I'm not quite at that 11 to 12 range, which some people online are. 10 wins, sure, that's not asking too much from 9-8, but for now, give me a 9-8 year for Sean Payton in year 1. That will do it for us on today's show. We are going to sign off, and make sure to subscribe, like the video, all that good stuff if you have not already. I really appreciate everyone for taking time out of their day to come hang out with us. We will let you go. Enjoy the rest of your Labor Day weekend.